I think what brought me originally was the location to my home. I was looking for a church that I could raise my kids in, kids that they'd be going to school with, may see out in the community, maybe playing on sports teams.
My wife and her sister were actually members here before I was, and when we started dating, she talked me into coming to church one Sunday, and so that was the first time I came to St. John. And the funny story about that was her sister didn't know she invited me.
My brother and sister-in-law had been attending church here when they lived in Fargo, and their firstborn, they got him baptized here, and I was a sponsor for that. So I attended his baptism, and I liked the size of the congregation, just the feel of the church, and just seemed to be a very, very friendly congregation.
We were looking for a church home for our family. Someplace with a good sense of community and openness to our young, active children.
But what eminently brought us here was that my sister-in-law was a member. And so when they invited us to attend, it just kind of made sense as far as being close with family members.
Definitely my parents. Yeah.
I don't know, I've been here as long as I can remember, so my parents brought me.
Definitely parents.
When I was in college, I was part of an outreach team that led a worship here at St. John's. And as part of that, I was hosted by Lois Nelson, was my host mom. So when Dean and I came back to Fargo and we started searching for a church, this was one of the churches we stopped at. And Lois, being Lois, of course, came out and welcomed us and really encouraged us to come back. And we knew a handful of other people who were members here, and it just felt very comfortable.
Probably its proximity to where we lived. We bought a home in South Fargo, and we liked the park area.
Our friends Amy and Scott Amy was in my daughter's play group, and she mentioned that she had gone here. They had gone here and liked it, and so I decided to try it.
The first time we came because of its proximity to our house. We purchased a home just 5 blocks north of here, but we kept coming because the next week the pastor came to our home, welcomed us to the city, and invited us back. So we were impressed with that.
We came because we had friends that attend here, and we were really excited right away about a church that didn't separate the contemporary service from the traditional service. That was something that was really important to us.
I knew the name St. John, and so it was one of the churches that Nancy and I visited upon returning to Fargo, this church and many others. And I was greeted warmly, introduced to at least a half dozen people before I left that first Sunday. That brought me back a second time, and St. John just fit for me. I knew that intuitively.
Sadly, I think we've lost people. It's a smaller group than it used to be. When I came with my young children, I did see a really large youth involvement, a lot of programming, and that's what I liked to see. I wanted my kids to grow up in something with programming on a bigger scale.
I think St. John still has the same feel it's had. It's about worship and music and people, and unfortunately people come and go. So I think that the biggest thing that I've seen over the years is just the change of people.
The church doesn't feel quite as small as it was then. I think we've gotten a little bit bigger in some ways, both through the construction project, I think, as well as the congregation itself. To some degree, I think I've seen the congregation grow a little bit older, and maybe that's just because I'm growing older.
It's only been 2 years, but we have seen new members come, and that's always fun.
The pastor changes, now we're into our 3rd, I believe, and then there's all the remodelings that have happened,
And it's probably not so much how St. John's has changed, but how my perception of it has changed, if that makes sense. Just because I think where I'm at in my life, things have changed as well. But one of the things I'm noticing, when we started, there were all these pillars of the congregation, for lack of a better word. And those pillars are now changing, those people. And in some ways I feel like we have people who have been here a very long time and are very dedicated, and some very new members who are very enthusiastic and very excited and are looking for ways to get involved.
Oh goodness, I think it's been pretty constant. I think we've had good people. I think we have good staff. I think we've had good ministers.
I want to address that in the last 6 months or so, because I think it had seemed fairly stable for that time, you know, for the first 4 years we were here. And then when Pastor Ron said that he was going to leave, I noticed that people really becoming more, coming into their own more.
I'm not sure that it's changed a whole lot. Physical plant, of course, has changed a lot since we first came here. But basically, I think we're still thought of as a small church.
Within the last couple of years, I looked out over the congregation and I realized that at least 50% of the people had joined St. John after Nancy and I did, or were literally unknown to me. They were new faces. That might be discomforting for some people. I like it.
What has changed? That doesn't say too much other than the physical end of it. People are gone, old friends have died, passed away, and we miss them. New folks have come, and the new folks have been a real shot in the arm for us.
I like the community feel. I like that no matter what event I'm coming for, there's going to be someone here with a smiling face. There's going to be a welcoming feel.
I like to volunteer for Churches United for the Homeless. There's just a lot of very interesting community programs that you can get involved with at St. John.
I love the fact that they do put a lot of emphasis on the youth programs, Sunday school, youth activities.
I think St. John has a great energy. I love the music. Worship is meaningful.
Being St. John is just really kind of a tight group. You can become part of so many things and get to know everybody.
In confirmation, it's not like school where there's different groups of like youth,
like
you
cliques,
know? Yeah.
like we're all friends.
Everyone just gets along with everyone.
Our family considers ourselves very blessed to be part of what we consider our St. John family. And as we've had children, that's only become more and more important.
I think we are so privileged to have Dawn as our music director. She is fun, she is talented, she keeps it going, she keeps it lively, and I appreciate everybody who sings in the choir.
The rest of the people, I mean, for the majority that I've noticed, are also real and they care, but they really truly seem to have a relationship with, really seem to love God and really want to live as He would want us to live.
The assisting minister program is wonderful. I'm not sure how it works now, but in the 10 or so years that I was a part of it, it was significant in my faith growth.
I love just coming to church on Sunday and like feeling the energy in the room. You know, I mean, everyone wants to be here. Everyone wants to come to church. I mean, I love being at worship on Sunday mornings.
Well, I love the diversity of worship experiences that we have, that we can have one week where youth are leading and another week where we have a very traditional sort of old style service. We have the different choirs, there are young people, people of all ages that are participating.
I deeply appreciate the message of inclusiveness that St. John seems to radiate and preach. Not that other churches are not inclusive, but I really like the fact that we've reached out to anybody, including people of differing sexual identities, and we made that known.
You know, I love to be able to be doing drama here, and I enjoy the participation of other people that come aboard to do drama.
I think it's more community related. It's outside the walls of this building is what I feel our mission is. I feel that we're a church that we bring our friends to, that we say, why don't you come check out what we're doing here?
I think we have that large church ability with a small church feel. And to me, that's the power of St. John.
You see a lot of unique areas where God's working through St. John, whether it's the refugee program, serving meals at Churches United and in the Salvation Army, through the Sunday school program and the youth program.
I think that God has called us to be members together and to think outside of the box, and I think St. John sometimes can do that.
It always seems like St. John is kind of leading the way as far as, we get a lot of press in St. John for some of the things that we do, and it seems like we stand out. And we draw attention to certain things that we believe.
I think the people make the church, and we're all aware of God dwelling here. And
just in our sharing of our time, whether it's during a church service or in other organizations within the church.
I think God has a lot of plans for St. John. I mean, especially with this process, our like revamping everything and like making our mission very clear. I think that that's one way of God saying, how do you want to serve me?